Alrighty, folks. Teenage Tycoon is rocking and rolling. Last week's guest, Alison Prince, helped share with the kids how to turn trash into cash. He was a part of doing over $100 million in e-commerce last year. We got to talk with Mr. Bill Allen, the lead of Teenage Tycoon, about turning trash into cash. This is an exciting topic, man.
Yeah, it was really cool. I've known Allison for a few years now, and I've seen her on stages, and I've seen all the teaching that she does. She's a total inspiration. So she used to be a teacher, and then she started selling stuff online, and totally changed her life. She told the story to the kids about how she made her first $200 online, and how they went over $100 million in sales this year. Obviously, she's not teaching anymore, and
Yeah,
it,
I mean, she's not teaching anymore. Just
yeah. One of the kids asked her how much do you work each week? And she was like, she's like, I really like to work. It's a lot of fun. I also like to be home with my family. And she's really easygoing. It was so fun with the kids, but she's like 20 hours or so a week. And they were like, $100 million in sales in 20 hours a week. She's like, I have a really great team. And like, how many employees do you have? She's like, none.
Where's this team we speak of?
She's got a couple contractors that help her and support and stuff. So it was really cool to just kind of see her in her element with the kids. She was getting them involved. It was really, really fun to watch. It was awesome.
So I've got to ask. I'm interested in turning trash into cash. I mean, how does this story begin?
Well, she took the beginning of the story to kind of get the kids pulled in,
Right.
and she showed a picture of they lived in Puerto Rico for a few years. They moved there for the taxes, obviously, and she showed a picture of her neighbor who she talked about with like e-commerce and some of the stuff she was doing. Told her neighbor about it, and there was a picture of all of these. It basically looked like it was an empty lot with just a bunch of trash in it. It was like landscaping trash. So like
Okay.
leaves that had fallen, but these are palm fronds. So that fell out of the palm trees. They had a storm
Sure.
and there was just palm fronds everywhere, like dead ones, like brown dead ones, right? And so this woman took them and she said, "What do you see back there?" So it's like the opening line, like, "What do you see in the yard?"
What do you
Kids are
see? I
like,
like it.
I don't know, like dirt, grass. It was all a lot of real estate kids. So they were like, money, like,
I see a
and
lot.
like, yeah,
EDU.
yeah, ADU, a new house. And so she said, yeah, money is right. You got it right. And she showed this picture of a woman who took all of these palm leaves, dead palm fronds,
Yep.
and she trimmed them in the shape, like kind of like a spade, like
Okay.
a
Yeah. Yeah.
picture of a spade on a playing card. And then the next slide was a glass vase in a house next to a couch with three of these palm fronds perfectly cut into a spade.
Ah.
And it was a decorative design that she sold three palm fronds for like, I don't know, $100, like $99. So she actually took the palm leaves and then
Really?
then the next slide was she took all the trimmings and then bundled them into a little like a nice like cylindrical wrapping
Yeah.
where it was like a decorative piece that they used with like a nice bow. And then the third picture was all the sub clippings that were too small for that she turned into boutonnieres and
Huh.
sold those on Etsy. And so the woman made about $200 per leaf.
$200 per leaf.
Basically, yeah. And was like just built a business that has done multiple seven figures. And now all the people in the neighborhood, the trash collectors in the neighborhood, the landscapers, what they do is they collect them all and they drop them off at her place for free. So they don't have to dump them in the dumpster.
Yeah,
Right?
because they have to. Yeah, they have to trash to them, right? They have to dump them.
And now she sends, so this woman, she used to do it herself, then she got kind of tired of doing it herself. And
Sure.
then now she has a fulfillment center that does it for her. And she doesn't do any of it other than just coordinate it all. And
Wow.
made more than a doctor. I think she made $500,000 net last year.
On palm fronds.
Palm fronds. That's it. And so the kids were like, wait a second. It was just mind blowing. And I'll tell you what, the parents, like I talked about before, they're looking over the shoulder going, wait, what are you saying?
What?
And
What? Huh?
how can I do this? She also shared a bunch of her websites that she goes to find how she finds trends, how she finds things that are going to sell really well, and what she sells like different seasons and different times, and where she finds it and where she goes and buys it from, and the recommendation, the whole system. for the kids
Wow.
to do it. I mean, I literally want to go start an e-commerce business right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm gonna drive down the street and see what's lying around, and I can pick up his. Again,
Yeah.
when you're
You
running a
know,
business, part of it is materials. And her material is zero.
well, it reminded me of my farm. So on my farm, we use hay mulch for all of our crops and our produce.
Uh-huh.
And it was getting really expensive, and we had all these trees. We have trees every 60 feet. We probably have 300 fruit trees out there
Okay.
on my 3.5 acres. And we were trying to reduce cost in hay. It was just like massively expensive. And there
Sure.
was a guy who was cutting the trees down in the neighboring house, and I went over to him, and they were chipping it all up. I said, "Hey, what do you do with all these wood chips?" And he's like, well, I have to take them to the dump, and they charge. I said, "Do they charge you to drop them off?" He's like, "Yeah." I said, "Well, you could just drop them off here." And
Okay.
he's like, "Oh, okay." And he's like, "Great." I said, "How often do you do this?" He's like, "Every day. Every day I have to drive all the way to the dump." I said, "Well, if you're ever in this area, just come over here and dump wood chips
Yeah.
on my farm, and then we will distribute it all throughout the garden. You could just dump it here for free." He's like,
Okay.
"As often as I want?" I said, "Yeah, as often as you want, as much as you want." And we still can't get enough of it. So it's totally free material for me, reduces the
Ah,
overhead cost of the farm. Now I'm not turning around selling it, but I would have had to pay for this. So it was very similar to that, of just thinking about things differently, of like, instead of how do we get the cost of hay down? It's like, what else could we use other than that for a lot of what we're using this hay for now? So it's just about creativity inside of a business, and trying to figure out how to yeah, like you said, reduce the material costs or figure out what you could do with it. And I thought it was really creative. And honestly, the other things like the boutonnieres didn't come until later.
right.
Like, and she was like, "Now I'm wasting all of this. I wonder what else I could do with it. Is there a market for this?" And then there was. And so it's really interesting. And now obviously she's built up a big market. People know what it is. And then one of the kids was like, "How much does she sell the glass jar for?" She's like, "She don't
Ah,
even sell the glass jar. She just she
yeah.
just ships the palm fronds. That's it."
Yeah. Yeah. The glass. That's a good call, right? Because
And it might be better big secret that Alison talked about, of like what it was, because I think it'll help everyone that's listening to maybe restructure some things that they're doing. But she really tried to teach the kids about pain, like solving
okay.
other people's pain instead of selling stuff. And so we talk about
Okay.
this in real estate all the time, obviously.
Yeah.
If we go into a seller's house, it's not about like, what can we pay for the house? All this stuff. It's like, how do we solve the pain? If there's no pain, if there's no motivation, we're not going to get the price that we need to move the
Yeah.
house. We're not going to be able to trade equity for ease and speed of transaction and all that stuff. Like, we have to buy right. And
Yeah.
so we understand that kind of. I think some real estate investors really get stuck on that. They don't get it, especially in the beginning. They think they go find a realtor, put an offer in, put 20% down, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But if you can really figure out like pain solution. And so what Alison talked about was, if that woman was like, "Do you want to buy some dead palm fronds to decorate your living room?" She would not have sold any of them.
Right.
And it's just, nobody's going to be like, "Yeah, I want some like dead leaves in my living room." But what she said, like all of her marketing from the beginning was, "Do you have trouble keeping your plants alive? Do you?"
Ah,
And so her market, she understood her market, and her avatar was people who kill plants on a regular basis, like me.
like me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
me.
Right here.
Yeah.
Hey, but if
And
you give me it dead, I won't make it dead twice.
there's pictures of how nice it looks in the living room, all that stuff. And it's like, you know what? You can go on vacation as much as you want, and when you come home, it's still going to look really beautiful. And
Genius.
it was. So the message and the marketing is about solving a problem that people have, and then they'll buy your product. So I mean, and she gave another example, and there's a lot of gold here. So I'm going to leave a
Yeah.
little bit behind the curtain, okay, folks? So you got to come into Teenage Tycoon to watch the recording, because it was amazing. But Alison also told a story of when she sold cupcake liners. She sold out of cupcake liners. She's like, "Who has cupcake liners in their house?" Everybody raised their hand. Who's seen them at the grocery store? Like,
Yeah.
they're everywhere, right? And she
Mhm.
sold so many, like millions of dollars in cupcake liners. But she had an audience of moms on her
Yeah.
email list. And so if she sold cupcake liners, like, "Oh, this red cupcake liner," like you hear people try, this is how people sell e-commerce stuff. It's going to look better. It's cheaper. It's prettier. Like whatever it is, that's how they're selling the stuff. But what she said was, she said, hey, moms, I know you're tired of doing dishes all day with your kids. So if what you can do is you can have a picnic or a day out with the kids or a time in the car or time at the grocery store. Just get this cupcake liner and put the snacks in the cupcake liner. You can take it with you. You go there, and once they eat all the snacks, you just throw it away. You don't have to do any dishes anymore. You're tired, you're worn out. And so she repurposed the cupcake liners to be a tool for the moms to be able to carry around handheld snacks for their kids and throw it out afterwards instead of doing dishes. And that's how she sold like
Allison's a genius.
billions of cupcake liners. And so she went on to give them like 10 different examples of how you can think about the person that you're trying to support and solve pain. How she showed them how to use ChatGPT to find the pain in any item that they want to sell, how to
Well,
write
let's
the
talk about that a little bit. So, I actually, let me ask about the students first, right? They're, let's call it average age 11, 12, something like that.
Yeah, that's probably true. I don't know. We have quite a few that are like 15 to 18, 15 to 17. So,
All right.
and
So
then
let's
we
call it,
have, yeah, there's probably average age 13, 14. I would
okay,
say.
13, 14. Is ChatGPT something they're already comfortable with? Like,
Some were like, they knew what it was. So they're not allowed to have it on their school computers. I found out like, so
oh,
Allison knew all this. She's been, so because they'll just like,
plagiarize or whatever.
yeah, use it for evil. Um, and, uh, and so we talked about like how to get an account, how to set up. They all seem
Okay.
pretty familiar with it. Like they
Okay.
understood
I was just
what it was.
curious.
Maybe not like how to write the exact prompts and things like that, but we gave them all the prompts and things,
Yeah.
and hey, use it for there was a lot of things that we talked about, because some of it was like, she talked about Pinterest, she talked about a couple other sites, which sometimes there's stuff that's like not so great for them to see on there. So there was a
Right.
lot of conversation about supervision and stuff like that when it came to that.
Sure.
And then, yeah, I mean, most knew what ChatGPT was,
Okay.
but I don't know that they've all used it before. The
Yeah. I
younger
was
kids,
just,
the older kids for sure, they were like, oh yeah, 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 I know it.
yeah. Because it's coming. I think ChatGPT is coming up, and I think the younger generation will skew towards it.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask my 9-year-old actually when I get back from this trip if he knows what it is, and
Yeah,
then he's gonna say yes because he wants to be cool, and then I'm gonna
of
ask
course.
him what it is. Like, well, what is it? Tell me what it is. Let's see if he does. But I
Exactly.
think they do. I think it's something that, I mean, they're a lot hipper than we think.
Oh
They
yeah,
they
absolutely.
know
More
what's going on.
technology enabled.
Yeah.
And then the thing that I know about ChatGPT, and again, I'm over 50, so I'm ancient in their world, is you do have to be almost a prompt engineer, right? It is about the question.
Yeah, you have to ask. If you ask the right things, you'll get the right answers. And then what I love to do is just keep expanding and expanding and expanding. So it's like, give me 10 more, give me 10 more. And give me it in this, like this is
Put
the
it in a
audience.
table, put it this or this.
Yeah, the more information that I can give it and the more kind of guidelines, the better. So like an example was here, what we did was, why don't we pick a product right now? Like, what is something that you think that, like, just pick something. I mean, you could look around
A
your office.
camera,
Okay, a
camera,
camera.
digital
So
camera.
then, like, so if you want to sell a camera, and I don't know that the margins really work on this, but yeah, let's use here's an example that uh, let's use more of a commodity, like an earring or
Okay.
like a bracelet or something like that. So
All right.
these kids are making this stuff, or
Bracelet.
so you have a bracelet that, so what she did was she talked about like looking for trends, like popular things that are going on
Okay.
right now. So right
Right.
now, like the number one trend when we did this exercise was Valentine's Day nails.
Oh, okay. Makes sense.
So
Yeah.
like girls buying these fake fingernails or nail paintings for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And so what she was saying then is like, this is a hot trend, like she's selling it, but the way that you're selling it is very different than just selling, like competing with all the other thousands of nails that are out there.
Right.
But like a bracelet as an example is like, okay, what pain could a bracelet solve? So like as you talk through that of like, what other tools could you use a bracelet for to solve a problem? Could be a prompt in ChatGPT. She
Okay.
used scrunchies as an example. on
Oh
one
yeah.
of, she used like 5 things. It was scrunchies, it was dryer lint, it was like a ton of different examples. Like, do you want to sell your dryer lint? You could sell your dryer lint. And so
Oh
she went
no
through that.
way.
Yeah, she went through that and showed him all of it. But a scrunchie is a good one that she went through that I actually have an answer for that I never thought about.
Okay.
So everybody thinks like a scrunchie is something that you like put in
Yeah.
your hair, right? To
Yeah.
tie your hair back. But you can see some of the prompts that came is like putting it on your wrist to cover up a scar potentially,
Oh.
or
Okay.
multiple scrunchies to cover up a
Yeah.
scar. There was one that was that used it for like cooling on your head, like soaking it in cold water and putting it on
Oh
your for
yeah.
like a headache. It was like all, and put it in water and put it in the freezer. And it's like there was a ton of different things that came up of like these are some things that's creative things that scrunchies can solve. And so
I
then
get
you
it.
can
I
imagine
get
like
it.
sending an
Yeah.
email out or posting about this or telling a story. Like if you went on Facebook and told a story about like, I had the worst headache and I had nothing around the house to take care of this, but I remember reading something and I soaked my
Yeah.
scrunchie in ice water, put it on my head, and it just felt so relaxing. And then it's like a
Ah.
link to your Etsy shop. So I figured I
Yeah.
would make scrunchies that were specifically designed for this, and you can go to my Etsy shop and get them. And then she also talked about using micro influencers and things
Yeah.
to promote it and link Etsy shops for free, just for sending out some product, all kinds of like the whole system that she uses, like for the adults, and I kidified it almost, like just made
Yeah.
it really simple for the kids and fun. And they got so excited. I mean, some of the kids up till then were like, I don't really want to like buy stuff on Craigslist and flip it. Some of the other ones like found their purpose then and were like lighting up over this. They really loved it. It was cool
Uh,
to introduce some new things every 2 weeks.
no, I think what you're doing with Teenage Tycoon every 2 weeks a speaker, and then every other week, the off weeks you're doing kind of accountability. As I remember,
Yep.
it's just this is going to catch so much momentum, and the stories of success and is just going to start breeding on itself. It's going to be fun to watch this evolve.
Yeah, I don't specifically think that we're loud enough about what we're doing, and I could be better at that for sure. Really everything in my life, everybody I talk to, kind of one on one or in a small group, they're like, "This is totally needed. My kids need to be in this." They sign up, but
Yeah.
it's about kind of doing a better. I mean, as a marketer, it's about being louder, being a real noisy, and I love it. It's really cool to see some of these folks, the kids, come out of their shell, go in on, and the speakers that are lined up. It's really exciting. Like this was, you don't get Alison Prince to jump on a Zoom
No,
call with anyone. Like she just doesn't do this kind of stuff.
and she did it because of the kids. That's
For
why she
sure,
did it.
for sure.
Yeah.
And just she's been a great friend the past few years. So being able to come on and like she did it for the kids at 7 o'clock at night, and she stayed on for an
Ooh.
hour and a half,
Wow.
and just like an hour, then answered questions for a half an like 40 minutes afterwards. Like I was there till almost 9 o'clock my time, and so it was just really cool to see. And all of her kids they have to pay their bills through a business, so they all sell products themselves.
Wow.
And so she's got her kids,
Living
paying
by
for
example.
clothes, paying for everything. They set up a business when they were young. They have to learn how to sell e-com type stuff. And her kids are doing it. Her kids made multiple six figures last year in their businesses selling this kind of stuff.
And they're how old roughly?
Yeah, the oldest I think is like 15. So
Okay.
like 15 to
So
12
right in the sweet spot. Yeah,
range,
right
maybe
in the
16 to 12. I think one of her kids has a driver's license. So 16 to
okay.
12 probably. I think they have
Okay.
4 kids.
Wow. What's next? Who's the next speaker? Do you have that lined up? Can we tease that or no?
Yeah, for sure. So they just finished reading this book, Swim, that we talked about.
Yep.
And so this Thursday is me. So I'm doing the accountability. I'll be in Las Vegas for the Super Bowl, actually. So Thursday night, I'm gonna find a place in my hotel and do the call for them because
Nice.
it's mandatory, and I love it. And then the next week is the author of the book that they read. So they read this book, Swim, by
Yep.
Walter Bond. We talked about shark, suckerfish, and parasite.
Yep.
And Walter is coming to talk to them. It's like a big surprise. They I don't know if I announced it yet. So they're going to be shocked and they're going to talk about the book. Like we
Yeah.
did a book club for a month. We're reading the second book now, Millionaire Next Door. But the author, Walter Bond, he's a NBA basketball player
Yeah.
that started public speaking. He's in the Public Speaking Hall of Fame. He's a business coach, consultant now, just amazing guy.
Wow.
So, and you've
Very,
seen him
very,
speak, I think.
I
You've shown
have.
him.
I did. He was a wonderful speaker. Very, very
Um,
inspirational. The kids are going to love him.
oh, he's gonna crank him up and get me pumped up. It's gonna be really fun to watch. I'm just gonna let him do his thing, and
Yeah. Just
he's so
go.
animated. He's so fun. He's gonna pull him in. I've
Yeah.
seen him on Zoom before too. Like I've had him do a couple presentations for me for the military on Zoom,
Okay.
and he is just as powerful on Zoom. Like my computer shakes, like the stage, because he's
He
he's
just
not a little
comes through.
man,
No, no,
and
he's a big boy. Yeah. NBA
yeah,
player.
and
Yeah.
his house shakes probably here in Florida when he's talking, and just he's gives it everything he's got. So I'm excited to see the kids react to that.
Yeah. Well, folks, we'll put a link below to Teenage Tycoon. More and more of you need to check it out, see what it's about. Clearly, feels like it's heading in an amazing direction, which, again, if you go back to episode 1, I knew it would. Bill Allen, any other kind of closing thoughts? Wrap this up?
No, the only thing I'll share, I don't know if we talked about it before, but we're starting to take applications for the financial aid for it. So for
Oh,
people that pay in full, so the people that watch this and the people that pay in full for the membership, we're doing a buy one give one.
okay.
So if we got a pay in full member, then we're going out to our list of people that have a financial need for this, because I think the people that need this can't afford it. So needed the most, I should say. I think everybody
Right.
needs this. But and then they have to keep a certain activity level up and
Okay.
engagement to be able to keep the scholarship.
Okay.
So
Buy one, get
I'm
one. I
excited
like
about
that.
that. We're going through some of the applications now, and we've got 3 or 4 slots that we're giving out to let some people in for that. So
Wow. Your heart has always been one of your strongest muscles. This
mm,
is just another example of it. So I appreciate you. That's a great move. Buy one, get one. Makes
yeah,
everybody feel good. So
I think it's going to be incredible and what I'm really excited about is if we can give away a scholarship for a year, that kid and that family starts doing a lot better with some of the financial tactics we give them, and then the year after that they can sponsor another kid. That's the vision that I have for something like this. So let's see what happens.
there you go. All righty, folks, go check out link below Teenage Tycoon and enjoy the Super Bowl. Go 49ers.
Yeah, I'll root for the 49ers because they beat my Ravens. I'm ticked off that the Ravens didn't make it. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'm excited to fly out there and have a good time. I got a spot for my plane, which is very rare. So I'm excited. I'll be out
Very
there.
cool. Awesome,
See you,
buddy.
Michael.
Thanks.